The galaxy had always been a place of order and rules, a place where different species coexisted with one goal in mind: to dominate the stars. But now, something was different. For centuries, the strongest races fought for power, but there was one race that was kept away from it all: humans. Humans had always been unpredictable. Their history was filled with chaos, war, and survival. They were wild, rebellious, and not afraid to take risks. It was this unpredictability that made the humans so dangerous, yet so powerful. No one knew how to control them. The Galactic Council, the highest authority in the universe, had always welcomed new civilizations into their ranks. But when it came to humanity, they hesitated. They debated for years, argued among themselves, and finally, they made a decision that would change everything. Humans were banned from the Galactic War. No humans would be allowed to fight. No humans would be part of the grand battle that would shape the future of the galaxy. At first, humans didn't understand. They had always been told that they had the potential to become one of the greatest forces in the galaxy. They had allies in every corner of the universe, and their influence was spreading. Yet, suddenly, they were rejected. Why? What had they done wrong? The humans were left in shock. For them, war was a natural part of life. They had faced countless battles on their home world, constantly fighting to survive. But here, in the vast reaches of space, they were seen as too dangerous, too wild, and too unpredictable. It wasn't long before rumors started to spread. Some said the Galactic Council feared the humans' power. Others whispered that there was something far deeper at play. Whatever the truth was, it was clear that humanity was being kept out of something much bigger than themselves. The message came one day, unexpected and cryptic. It was delivered by a mysterious figure, one that no one knew or recognized. The message was simple but chilling. The galaxy cannot control what it cannot understand. You are wild, and wild things do not belong in war. These words sent a shiver through the humans who received it. What did this mean? Was it an insult, or was there something more to it? Why were they being singled out? The humans were determined to find the truth. They could not let this strange decision stand without answers. They had to know why they were banned, and what made them so dangerous. But as they started to investigate, they uncovered a startling secret. There was more to this story than anyone could have imagined. Hidden within the archives of the Galactic Council was an ancient prophecy, one that had been buried and kept secret for generations. The prophecy spoke of a race like no other, whose very existence could tip the balance of the universe. The prophecy described a species so powerful, so unpredictable, that their presence in a galactic war would mean destruction. That species was humans. The prophecy had been written long before humanity ever discovered space, long before they had ever made contact with the other species. But it described humanity's rise to power, the chaos they would bring, and the destruction they could unleash if they were ever allowed to participate in the galactic conflict. The more the humans uncovered, the more they realized the truth. Their potential was not something the galaxy could control. They were too wild, too different. The other races saw them as a threat, not just in war, but to the very order that held the galaxy together. As the humans read the prophecy, a chilling thought crossed their minds. Was this the reason they were banned? Were they really the wild, uncontrollable force that the galaxy feared? Were they truly a threat? But the mystery didn't end there. The humans soon learned that the prophecy was not just a warning. It was a call to action. The message from the Galactic Council wasn't just a refusal. It was a challenge. The humans were being tested, and the galaxy was waiting to see what they would do. The decision now lay in humanity's hands. Would they accept the challenge and prove the prophecy wrong, or would they succumb to the fear and rejection that had been forced upon them? The galaxy had underestimated them once, but humans had always found a way to defy expectations. As the humans prepared for what was to come, they knew one thing for sure. They were about to learn just how powerful they truly were, and whether or not the galaxy was ready for what humanity would bring. And as they took their first steps toward uncovering the truth, a sense of anticipation and suspense hung in the air. What would the galaxy do if the prophecy was right? What if humanity really was the force that could shake the stars? But one thing was certain: the humans were about to prove themselves to the universe. And whether the galaxy was ready for it or not, humanity's time had come. The humans sat in the dimly lit command room, the holographic images flickering around them as they pored over the ancient prophecy. Each line, each symbol, felt like a riddle they were meant to solve, yet the deeper they went, the more questions they had. The words seemed to describe them, but how could that be possible? They had never seen this prophecy before, and yet it felt like it had been waiting for them. The Galactic Council had kept this secret for centuries, hidden away in the deepest vaults of their archives. But now, the truth was finally out, and the humans weren't sure whether to be terrified or empowered by it. One of the humans, Commander Cara Denton, stood up and paced around the room, her thoughts racing. "It says that we're wild, unpredictable, a force that can't be tamed," she murmured, her voice filled with disbelief. But is that really a bad thing? Her comrade, Lieutenant Leo Briggs, turned to her with a worried expression. "If we're a force that can't be controlled, we could be a liability to the entire galaxy. We could destroy everything the Galactic Council has built." Kara's brow furrowed. "Or we could change everything. We could bring about a new order, one where no one, not even the Galactic Council, controls us. We're not just survivors. We're conquerors, Leo." The words hung in the air like a heavy storm cloud. What had begun as an investigation into a mysterious ban was quickly becoming something far more dangerous. Could humanity really be the unpredictable force the prophecy described? Were they meant to be something more than just soldiers in a galactic war? The group continued to sift through the ancient text, each translation revealing more of the prophecy's ominous tone. "A great power will rise from the ashes," one part read, "and the galaxy shall know it as a force too strong to be contained." The final sentence made Kara's heart race. "The Deathworlders will ascend, and none shall stand against them." The room grew silent. Deathworlders. That was what they were, the humans. But the prophecy hinted at something beyond just the label. Ascend. What did that mean? Was this humanity's chance to rise above the limitations that had held them back for so long? Kara knew they were walking on dangerous ground. The prophecy wasn't just a warning. It was a blueprint for the future. And the more they uncovered, the clearer it became that humanity's role in the galaxy was much larger than anyone had ever imagined. But as the humans continued to study the text, they realized that there was something even more concerning. The prophecy mentioned a great conflict that would come, one that would bring the galaxy to its knees. And the humans, with all their chaos and unpredictability, were at the heart of it. The galaxy's elites, the powerful species who held sway over countless worlds, had kept the humans out of the galactic war for a reason. They feared that if the humans were involved, it would not only tip the balance of power, but it would tear the galaxy apart. The humans were not just a threat. They were the threat. The prophecy hinted that they would be the spark that ignited a war far more devastating than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Kara clenched her fists, her mind racing. "We're not just a weapon, Leo. We're the match that could light the galaxy on fire. And maybe that's what we're meant to do." But how could they, just a small group of humans, stand against the most powerful forces in the galaxy? The prophecy didn't offer them any easy answers. It was cryptic, full of warnings and dire predictions. Yet, it also hinted at something else, something that could change the course of everything. What if humanity wasn't just meant to fight in this war? What if they were meant to reshape the galaxy? To create something new, something far beyond what the Galactic Council or the other species had ever dreamed of? Kara's mind was made up. The humans had always fought for survival, but now they had to fight for something greater, something that could change the entire course of galactic history. But they would need to prepare, and they would need allies. They would need to prove to the galaxy that they were not to be feared, but respected. And so, the humans began their journey, ready to face the challenge that awaited them. But as they left the safety of their homeworld behind, one thought gnawed at them. Could they control the power described in the prophecy, or would it consume them? As Kara and her team prepared for what was to come, they knew one thing for certain. The galaxy would never be the same once humanity was involved in the war. And they were ready to make their mark, ready to prove that they were more than just wild, unpredictable creatures. They were Deathworlders, and the galaxy was about to find out exactly what that meant. As Kara and her team continued to sift through the ancient text, a dark realization began to settle in. The prophecy was not just a warning. It was a plan, and the humans were at the center of it. But the question was, why? The Galactic Council, a powerful collective of species that ruled over vast swaths of the galaxy, had long kept humanity at bay. It wasn't just that humans were considered Deathworlders, creatures from a planet too dangerous to interact with. There was something else, something darker. Kara had seen the Council's reaction when they first heard of humanity's involvement in the galactic conflict. The fear in their eyes was palpable, even though they tried to hide it with diplomacy and hollow smiles. They feared humanity, not because of their technology or their military prowess, but because they knew that humans were unpredictable, dangerous, and had the potential to change the rules of the game. Kara stood in the war room, staring at the vast star map in front of her. The bright, pulsating lights showed the known territories of the galaxy, with various alien species occupying their respective planets. The humans were relegated to one small, seemingly insignificant corner, a place no one ever paid attention to. But now, with the rise of the prophecy and the truth of their power, humanity was about to make its move. "Look at this," Kara said, her voice thick with frustration as she pointed to the star map. "We're isolated, cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Yet, we're the ones who are banned from this war." Lieutenant Leo Briggs, standing beside her, glanced at the map. "It doesn't make sense. We've never even been part of the galactic military. We're not aligned with any faction. Why would they fear us?" Kara's eyes narrowed. "Because they know we don't follow rules. And they know that if we join the war, it won't be on their terms. It will be our terms. They're terrified of what we could do if we're unleashed." Leo hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "But they've banned us for a reason, right? The Council. They must know something we don't." Kara looked up at the ceiling, deep in thought. "That's just it. They do. And that's exactly why they're trying to keep us out. If we were to enter this war, it would change everything. But the Council wants to keep the status quo. They don't want chaos. And they certainly don't want us to be the ones to start it." The tension in the room grew thicker as Kara and her team came to a chilling conclusion. The Galactic Council didn't fear humanity because of their strength alone. They feared what humanity could become. A force of nature. This was something no one had seen before in the galaxy. Every species the Council had dealt with had their rules, their systems. But humanity, they didn't play by the same rules. And it was this unpredictability that made them so dangerous. Just as the weight of the situation began to sink in, the door to the command room slid open with a soft hiss. Admiral Varker, a stern, no-nonsense alien who had served as humanity's reluctant liaison with the Galactic Council, entered the room. His antennae twitched nervously as he took in the serious faces of the human crew. "What's going on in here?" he asked, his deep voice laced with concern. Kara turned to face him, her jaw set. "We're figuring out why the Council fears us so much. Why they've gone to such lengths to keep us out of this war." Varker's eyes flickered, his expression unreadable. "And what have you discovered?" Kara took a deep breath. "The prophecy. It's not just a warning. We're the key. And the Council knows it." Admiral Varker stiffened. "The prophecy? What are you talking about?" Leo stepped forward, pointing to the text on the screen. "It says the Deathworlders. That's us, are meant to be more than just soldiers. We're meant to bring about a new order. The galaxy's entire system could collapse if we were to rise up, and the Council is terrified of what we might do with that power." Varkor was silent for a long moment. The air in the room seemed to grow heavy as he processed what they were saying. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and careful. "You're right to be concerned. The Council knows. They always have. That's why they've kept you on the sidelines, watching but never participating. They know that once you understand your potential, it will be impossible to stop you." Kara's heart raced. "Then we have to make a choice. We can't sit back any longer. We have to show them what we're capable of. We have to prove that the humans aren't just wild animals. We're the future of this galaxy." The Admiral turned away, staring out the window at the stars. "You're right, Commander. But be careful. The galaxy is not ready for what you might unleash. And neither are you." His words hung in the air, heavy with truth. Humanity's power was real, but so were the dangers that came with it. As Kara looked at her team, she could feel the weight of their responsibility bearing down on them. The prophecy had chosen them, but now they had to decide whether they were ready to embrace the chaos it promised, or whether it would consume them. For the first time in their lives, they were no longer just soldiers. They were Deathworlders, and the fate of the galaxy was about to rest in their hands. The deeper Kara and her team delved into the ancient prophecy, the clearer it became that humanity's involvement in the Galactic War was not an accident. It was something destined, and their actions would shape the future of the galaxy in ways no one could predict. The Council had been right to fear them, but even Kara couldn't fully grasp the gravity of what was about to unfold. Kara sat in her quarters late into the night, staring at the holographic projections of ancient texts and symbols. They flickered, glowing softly in the dim light. She had been reading the same paragraph over and over, trying to piece together the hidden meaning of the prophecy. The words seemed to haunt her, echoing through her mind. The text described the awakening of a race of beings so powerful that even the gods of the galaxy feared them. It spoke of the time of reckoning, when the Deathworlders would rise, not as mindless warriors, but as masters of the galaxy's fate. Her fingers hovered over the final lines of the prophecy, the ones that had unsettled her the most. The Deathworlders will choose to fight not for a flag, not for a crown, but for themselves. In doing so, they will unravel the very fabric of existence, for no power in the galaxy can control them once they are unleashed. Kara's heart raced. Unleashed. What did it mean for humanity? Were they meant to become the galaxy's rulers, or were they simply meant to destroy everything in their path? There was so much at stake, and no one could prepare for what was to come. She was interrupted by the sudden chime of her communicator, a message from Admiral Varkor. "Kara, we need to talk. There's something you need to see. It's about the hidden war." The Admiral's voice crackled over the comms. The hidden war. Kara had heard whispers of it, but she hadn't given it much thought. The galaxy's long-standing conflicts, with factions warring over resources, power, and ideologies, were always kept in the shadows, far from public view. But Kara now understood that these were the very conflicts that had kept humanity out of the larger galactic stage. She hurried to the war room, where Varkor was waiting. Her room was bathed in soft blue light, and the faint hum of machinery filled the air as the Admiral stared at a series of encrypted data streams on the screen. When Kara entered, he turned to face her, his expression tense. "I've uncovered something," Varkor said, his voice low. "Something that changes everything." Kara stepped forward, her pulse quickening. "What do you mean?" The Admiral's hands hovered over the controls, and the screens flickered to life, showing a series of classified documents, interspersed with cryptic images and alien symbols. He zoomed in on one particular image, a dark, shadowy figure standing tall, surrounded by flames and destruction. At first glance, it was just a silhouette, but then the details began to emerge, and Kara's blood ran cold. It was a human figure standing at the heart of destruction. "This is a symbol," Varkor said, his voice grim. "A symbol of the hidden war, a war that has been waged in the shadows for millennia. The Council tried to suppress it, but the truth has always been there, in the darkest corners of the galaxy. Kara narrowed her eyes. What does this have to do with humanity? The war we've been kept out of is not just about power, resources, or control. It's about knowledge, Varkor explained. The greatest secret of the galaxy is buried within the depths of an ancient civilization, one that humanity is uniquely connected to. The Deathworlders were not just survivors. They were chosen to guard that secret. Kara's mind raced as the pieces slowly began to fall into place. Chosen? By who? By the ancients, the first beings to ever walk the stars, Varkor said. They left behind a legacy, one that the Council has fought to keep hidden. They didn't want anyone to find it. But now, humanity has the key. You are the ones who will unlock it. The weight of his words hit Kara like a physical blow. The war wasn't just about political power or a struggle for dominance. It was about control over the galaxy's most dangerous secret. And humanity, the species they had once laughed at, was now the only one with the potential to wield that power. Then the ban makes sense, Kara said softly, her eyes narrowing. The Council doesn't want us to have that power. They know we could destroy everything they've worked to build. Varkor nodded solemnly. Exactly. But they also know that if you unlock the secret of the ancients, you could bring about a new era, one that could change the galaxy forever. The silence in the room grew heavy as Kara absorbed the full magnitude of their discovery. Humanity had been kept in the dark, treated like children, and yet they were the ones who held the key to the galaxy's future. The prophecy was not a mere warning. It was a call to action, a challenge for humanity to rise, take control, and uncover the secrets that the galaxy had desperately tried to keep hidden. Kara's heart pounded in her chest. We can't let them control us anymore. We have to fight, not just for survival, but for the future. Admiral Varkor's eyes met hers. And when you do, Kara, remember, there will be no turning back. The room fell silent again, but this time it was filled with the weight of a new understanding. Kara and her team had crossed a line. There was no more questioning what they were meant to do. Humanity was destined to take its place in the galaxy, not as pawns, but as the ones who would determine its fate. The war was no longer just a conflict between factions. It was a war for the truth, for the knowledge that could reshape the stars themselves. And now, humanity was ready to fight for it. The more Kara learned, the more questions surfaced. What had the Galactic Council been hiding from the rest of the galaxy? Why were the Deathworlders, humanity, kept out of the Galactic War, a war that had been brewing for centuries? Kara couldn't ignore the sinking feeling in her stomach as she began to piece together the true extent of the Council's manipulation. Kara sat in her quarters, the dim blue glow of the screens reflecting off her face as she scrolled through more of the encrypted data that Admiral Varkor had shared. Her eyes burned with the need to understand everything, to make sense of the incomprehensible. Her mind raced as she combed through ancient records and hidden treaties, all carefully veiled to prevent the truth from surfacing. As she read, it became clearer that the Council had long known of the dangerous secret humanity carried within them, the latent power that had been dormant in the Deathworlders for generations. This power wasn't just physical. It was something far greater, something the Council feared. For centuries, they had worked tirelessly to keep humanity from discovering their own potential, knowing that once the Deathworlders understood their true strength, they would become an unstoppable force. But why? Kara's fingers paused over a particular document that caught her attention. It was an old communication, hidden within the layers of official reports. The signature was from a figure she didn't recognize, High Commander Sereth, a name that appeared only in the most classified files. She opened the message. The Deathworlders are more than what they seem. They are the key to everything, and they must not be allowed to awaken. Their power could rival the ancient gods themselves. We will ensure their ignorance remains intact, or we risk losing control of the entire galaxy. Our interests must come first, no matter the cost. The words sent a chill through Kara's spine. The Council knew exactly what humanity was capable of, and it terrified them. The humans, who were once seen as nothing more than violent, primitive creatures, were now viewed as the ultimate threat to the existing galactic order. The very thing that had been suppressed for so long had to be buried even deeper. As she stared at the message, the pieces clicked into place. The Council wasn't just worried about humanity's strength. They were worried about the truth that humanity could uncover. The Deathworlders weren't just capable of destroying, they were capable of transformation. And that transformation had the potential to rewrite the rules of power in the galaxy. Kara clenched her fists, feeling both anger and determination rise within her. The Council's lies and manipulations had kept humanity in the dark for too long, but now she saw the true nature of their fear. Humanity had always been seen as weak, but the time had come for them to rise. No longer would they be dismissed. No longer would they be controlled. Her communicator beeped, snapping her out of her thoughts. It was Admiral Varkor again. "Kara, we need you at the command center. It's time we take the next step. You've uncovered something crucial, but now we need to act on it. The Council is already moving to silence us." Her heart skipped a beat. She quickly stood, grabbing her coat and rushing to the war room, her thoughts racing. She had expected the Council to act, but this was more urgent than she anticipated. Kara knew that once she entered that room, there would be no turning back. The galaxy was on the edge of a precipice, and humanity was about to tip the balance. When she arrived at the war room, Varkor was already waiting for her, his face grim. The rest of the team had gathered as well. Kara quickly stepped to the center of the room, ready for whatever came next. "The Council has already begun its plan to neutralize us," Varkor said, looking at the map on the holographic display. "They'll send a fleet to silence us, starting with the outer rim. But we can't afford to wait for them to make their move. We need to act now." Kara felt the weight of his words. The Council had already mobilized, and it was clear they would stop at nothing to keep humanity from unleashing their potential. But Kara knew one thing for sure: humanity couldn't be silenced anymore. "We need to strike first," Kara said, her voice unwavering. "We need to send a message that we won't be controlled. We need to expose the truth to the entire galaxy." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed her words. It was risky, dangerous, but it was the only way to ensure the Council didn't succeed in its mission. The galaxy needed to know what was happening, and humanity was the only one who could expose it. "Let's prepare for battle," Varkor said. "We'll need every ally we can find." Kara nodded. "We'll make the truth known. It's time for the galaxy to see what the Deathworlders can do." As the team began to organize their forces, Kara couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The Council's lies would be exposed, but what would come after? Humanity was about to enter a war that would change everything. The fate of the galaxy rested in their hands. And as Kara looked out at the stars, she knew there was no going back. The truth would come out, and with it, humanity would rise. The first phase of the mission was simple: disable the relay satellites. Lai had worked tirelessly to ensure they could break through the network quickly. With a few quick commands, the satellites went dark. The Council's communication channels were down, and the fleet had a small window to act. The second phase was the hardest: breaching Rither's defenses. The enemy would soon realize they had been hacked. Their countermeasures would kick in, but Kara knew they had to move faster. The only way to get to the central core, where the most sensitive files were stored, was to break through the outer perimeter. "Here we go," Kara whispered, tightening her grip on the control panel. "Everyone, get ready." The fleet surged forward, weapons firing. The entire war room erupted in chaos as Kara led the charge. Ships zipped past her, dodging incoming fire and returning shots. The vastness of space seemed to shrink as they engaged in battle, racing against the clock to access the data before reinforcements arrived. The breach was swift, but they weren't out of danger yet. As the crew made their way into the heart of Rithor, Kara couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. They were uncovering something far more dangerous than they realized. The Council had been hiding more than just their manipulation of humanity. They had been concealing a secret that, if revealed, could change everything. But for now, the mission was simple. Get the data. Expose the truth. Kara's eyes narrowed as the last doors opened in front of them. The truth was just within reach. But what she and the team would discover next would be even more shocking than anything they could have imagined. Kara's heart raced as the massive doors to Rither's central core slid open. The room was bathed in cold, sterile light, the hum of machines filling the air. The data banks stood like towering monoliths, pulsating with life, waiting to be unlocked. Her team was ready, their hands steady as they worked to access the critical files that would expose the truth. "We're almost there, Lai," the technician said, his fingers flying across the console. His face was pale, but his eyes burned with determination. Kara nodded, though a sense of unease crept over her. This wasn't just about taking down the Council. There was something far more dangerous hidden in these files, something that had been kept secret for centuries. She could feel it, a faint but undeniable tension in the air. "Accessing core data now," Lai muttered, sweat beading on his forehead. The seconds felt like hours as the machines whirred and clicked. Kara watched, her breath held, as the encryption codes cracked one by one. Then, with a soft ping, the screen lit up with a series of documents, images, and videos. The team crowded around, their eyes glued to the screen. Kara's pulse quickened. "This is it," she whispered. The truth was within reach. But as the files began to download, an unexpected warning flashed across the screen. "Security breach detected." The room went deathly quiet. The files were no longer theirs to access. A cold, metallic voice echoed through the room, sending a chill down Kara's spine. "Intruder detected. Initiating lockdown sequence. All access will be terminated in 30 seconds. Damn it." Kara swore, slamming her fist against the console. They had no time to waste. "Lai, get those files." Varker barked, his voice tense. "We need to get them out of here. Now." Lee frantically worked, trying to override the lockdown protocol, but the system was fighting back. The countdown ticked away, every second slipping through their fingers like sand. It was a race against time. "We don't have much time left," Lai called out, panic creeping into his voice. Kara didn't hesitate. She knew what had to be done. "Everyone, fall back to the extraction point. We'll take the data manually if we have to. Let's move." With a sharp nod, Varker and the others moved quickly. As the team scrambled toward the exit, Kara's heart pounded in her chest. Every step felt like it could be their last. The halls of Rithor Station were now filled with the sound of alarm bells and flashing red lights, signaling that the station was locking down. They made it to the elevator shaft just in time, but the elevator doors slammed shut with a deafening clang. Kara cursed under her breath. They had no way to get out that way.